Okay, welcome everybody. Happy hacking. Thank you for watching this video. This should be the third video in the series I'm doing, um, creating a node project and building a website. And so I've been doing some research and found out that most people, a great framework to use is the Express framework. So I kind of went ahead and did that, installed the Express generator, and then connected that to a server with the MongoDB. And then when I got there, I kind of stopped for a second and I really want to know how Node.js works. So, and I want to make my videos kind of educational and a conversation for people that are new to it or have questions. So, I decided that I wasn't going to use Express, the Express framework. Instead, I'm just going to kind of just use the Node.js raw. So I hope you guys like this video. So I want to kind of make it more educational. So sometimes there's videos that are going to be a lot of coding, and sometimes it's just going to be a vlog and giving my opinion about the technology, and maybe start a conversation for people that have questions that I can answer. So I figure I could just talk about the example code that I have, and then maybe talk a little bit of design and what we should do from there. So I always appreciate the input of other people on YouTube, some good programmers here that I watch. So I kind of want to do the same thing. So let's see, let's go to the web, and let me just talk about the example that they have here. So require is kind of the same thing as export or include. So you want to include that module, and so in the documentation, that HTTP module is right here, and so you can read more. So these built-in modules, you can't really look at the source code in your directory unless you go to the node. I think it's a GitHub repository, and look at the source code and see how the magic gets done. But otherwise, they provided a good API. And for those of you that like to do libraries, I can tell you that most APIs get adopted because of their documentation. So I know a lot of people hate to document, and sometimes you think that it's a waste of time, but really, I think that's the most important part of coding is documenting and kind of explaining why you did something a certain way. And so it's never a bad choice to comment, because if you compile it, never gets included. And you could even strip some of the comments once something goes in production. But as far as passing it on for somebody to maintain, it's nice when there's comments that would explain somebody's thinking. So so I also hope to educate some of the people that are just looking at this and saying, oh, what's this, what's that, and just looks like a bunch of numbers, and don't really have any idea what that is. So hopefully I could explain something and you can pause the video and search that somewhere so you could have more information. So let's see, host name, this is an IPv4 address, and there's also IPv6. IPv stands for Internet Protocol Version address. So there's no IPv5. I believe that's experimental. IPv6 is the newest one, and basically there was a thought that the way that it's going, assigning IP address to the Internet of Things, or to any computer, they thought that we were going to run out of IP addresses. That's proven not to be true, just because of the way we can set up the networks now. But regardless, they came up with IPv6. So this is the part where you want to pause if you're interested in that, and search IPv4 and IPv6. Okay, so the next one is a port. So a port is basically a socket that gets open and it's listening. So there's certain ports that are already assigned or already taken, and you can, like port 80 would be the HTTP. HTTPS uses 443. So that has to do with the operating system, and you could actually program. It's called socket programming to do all that, which is you bind, you listen, create. I'm not gonna go through it. That's a fairly advanced subject. If you want to know more, you could always search it, and I think you can do that in Node. Node has some wrappers around the OS, so it has an OS, and the server might have something in there for sockets as well. So that's something that you can look at if you're more interested in. And so the next line we have is create server. So this is where so what this is in ECMA 6 they came out with an anonymous function that you could write it this way. So another way to write this is to write function between here and take out this equals arrow sign. Okay, so that's another way to do it, and you can see it here again. There's a anonymous function that gets passed, when it's listening. And so how would you know what this does? Basically, you want to go to the API, and let's click on this and see what we get. Apologies for sometimes my internet's slow. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because I'm recording this and doing that. So what were we looking at? Create server. So normally what I would do is just hit Control F, and then I'll 8, so, oh, there we go. It shows up. Okay, so let's click on that. And so it says here it's from this module, create server, open parentheses, close parentheses tells me it's a function. And so it has a return, which returns HTTP server. You can look at that if you want to know. So it says returns instance. And it requires a function. So this request listener, they just named it that, but what it is a function. And so that request listener obviously gets the request and the response object given to it. Okay. And then after that, we're just listening. So on the port with that IP address, so that when something happens, basically it's an event, and that event gets emitted or gets handled, and then this takes over when that happens. So it's kind of behind the scenes. Event happens, there's a flag or interrupt or something like that. So basically HTML and JavaScript and all that is pretty much event driven. Okay, so what else do I want to talk about? Again, if you guys have any questions or comment, just leave it below. Okay, so should we run this? So basically, I was playing around with this request object because this always gets called. So what happens is there's a request. So these is the entry point. Once the request is made, this is the first thing that it goes to. So so this is an important piece when you're programming, because this is what handles every single request. So what do we want to do in the request? Well, we kind of want to route request. So when a request comes in, we want to see if we can service that request. So let's just type in a kind of a request here. So if you say HTTP, since we're not using HTTPS, localhost, port 3000, and we say books, and I'll say new books, new. So what does the web browser do? So, well, the web browser, if you put in the URL, is gonna submit a GET request. So that's the method, is a GET. If it was a form and the form was submitted here, it would be post request, sorry. And so these are two of the most common ones that was used before, and there's been a shift to make most of the site RESTful. meaning using the architecture that was already there to basically service those requests. Before then, with soaps and everything like that, you would often, get to post something because it was because the form can be served, by CGIs or anything of that sort, and so it was really people. I don't know if people just didn't really understood everything that was built in. So the RESTful makes use of all the methods. So we have get, we have post, put, just to update, delete, and there's others. I can't recall what they are, and you could, of course, try to search that so that you could get more information. Okay, so we create a server, and here I'm just logging this. So let's go to the command line and actually just run this. Okay, so I think I have nodemon install on here. If you don't have it, if it complains when you do this, just use npm install, then nodemon, and then just install it globally. So if you don't put this G here, then that will be included in the node modules in your project. Okay, but you don't really want to do that. You use that quite regularly, and it's not something that should be included in a project anyways, but generally. So let's go ahead and do the nodemon, and then this is my test. Problem having the same names. Okay, so when I call anything in the web browser, it should put in the console all the stuff that I was interested in, and basically that's the best way to see how something works is to write the code and then run it. So I go localhost 3000. Have it. So it says hi everyone, and then when we go to our console, I've printed out all these things that I have here so that I can see how all these things work. Okay, so if you're programming in C, all you have is pretty much print statement. So that's your best debugger. Especially if you're working with embedded. C++ is a little bit better for debugging, and on Node, you know what? I didn't try this, but I think you can just put debugger here like that, and it might stop at this point. Let's try that real quick. didn't work. So might be when you hit debug and start debugging. Okay. Ooh. Debugging, listening. Probably have to do. I don't know, that's not working. You know, like I said, I haven't tried this, so let's just cancel this. Configuration. Let's just not do that right now. So. Let's test it again. Make sure it's running correctly. Okay, seems to be working. Time. First, second, third, fourth. Okay. Get the same response. And not sure if the web browser, I think the web browser is doing this. It's requesting for the tab icon, which is pretty much what shows on the tab, amongst other things. So first, second, third, fourth. Okay. So that's good. So what we didn't see is the method. Okay. So just try to toggle all this. So when we service a request, we kind of want to see which of these verbs was used, because get and a post are different. We want to handle them differently. Because remember, you gotta think as a server. You're a server. So maybe here, see if we can log the method. So this should say get when we save that. It's running again. So it should just say get somewhere. Okay, because that's what basically what we're doing here. Okay, there you go. Get method. We can try. So in this web browser, I have this RESTlet extension I have in Google Chrome, and I can test all the REST methods that we have. Okay, so here, okay, they have get, post, put, delete, head. Let's get just the head. This is for web crawlers. Options, and then patch. Corn, you want to say anything to my fans? Okay, so it looks like I tested this before. So this is the so basically I'm sending a get to this to the node server that I'm running at port 3000, but instead of get, let's make a post. Something here. you don't have to put anything in the body. And then let's send that, and let's see what we get. Didn't get anything, so no. HTTP. Plus support. I'm not sure that okay, there you go. I guess it's authorization I have there for username, password, didn't like, so so now let's see what we got. There you go. We got the post request. So this is kind of what we want to know. So if it's a delete request, let's try to delete. Abort it. Not sure why it's not put anything in the headers. Okay. Didn't like this authorization. Hi everyone, like we expected. And there you go, delete. So let's try one more just to make sure. And okay, there you go. Good. Okay, so I guess here it's a good way to talk about like when something's being requested to the server. These are the things that you need to know is the method. So here's the method and the scheme, which is, you know, the protocol, the host, the port. It's nice right here. It says the path and then the query. So after the question mark, these are all queries. And you can see you do them here, and this parses it. And then if you post or put something, usually you put something in the body. It could be a text, it could be a file, it could be a form. Yeah. So one parameter, name, what type is it? It's a file, text. And this is a good tool. You could actually see what it sent. So if I said like user name, text, and there's like you could add more parameters. You could do application or a multi-part form, something that you can search if you don't know what it is. Okay. So you could have the body could be, depending on the content type, it could be JSON, plain text, XML, or HTML. So any of those are valid. Okay. So this doesn't work. So hi everyone. Okay, so what do you really want to do here? Well, one, you want to know the method in the request. So let me just clean up some of this. I think that stopped my server. So we want to know the method. Okay, so we could service it, because if it's a get or a post, if it's a post, then it's probably some information that we want to have and store into our database. And then we want to know, we want to get the URL. Okay. So for now, we're just gonna see if we can get these two. So we know we can get the method now. So I already looked at the documentation, and I think here what I want is URL. Okay, let's run this again. And send this. Oops. Okay. Okay, so we get the post, and then we get the query string. So I might cut it here, I might go forward. So in the next episode, I'll probably talk about what we can do knowing these two information, the way we can basically route this request, because obviously there would be more than one path to a resource. You know, if this was an album or a library, you would have, you know, maybe something like book and then the title. So maybe this is this book .html, you know, or whatever it is, the weirdest book, you know, and then could be a different title, or it could be books by author. So we kind of want to serve all that request. Okay, so I think now that we know the request and the URL, what I'm going to do is have a call this router, or it's called controller. Okay, and this controller is going to be an object that would have all the methods. So see the methods we have here. I'm not going to support all of them, but I'll put the get, post, put, delete, and maybe head. So get, and we're going to do the post. But delete, and then get post put delete, and okay, that's right. Okay, so basically I create a controller, and for each method I'm gonna assign a function to handle whatever was requested. So we could have a switch statement here that says, so let me just show you. Switch method. Gonna test this out. Case get like case get. And anything else, we're just gonna catch default. Oh, I need a break. Oops. Okay. So to test this, let's just do the console log and just say give it a string. Say get get the handler. Okay. Forget. I forgot. Or get. Okay. So this is just testing this out. So pretty much you want to test your code a little bit at a time, because you don't want it to write a whole bunch of code and then having to debug. And delete. Get the get the default. save that. So really what I'm doing here, it's what's referred to as incremental programming. So you write a little bit and then you test it. Sometimes you can't really, it's nice when you can do that. So scripting language is very nice because you can test it right away. Every little code and changes that you make. For others, it's not so easy. So that's for now. You can comment this out. Okay, so if I get a get, then get handler put or whatever it is. Okay. So let's try this. Let's put patch. So we should get the default. So same. Was supported, so didn't like that. Let's hi everyone. Okay, so this should see crashed. Why? Case get. Oh. Okay, it's a string, not an object. Sorry about that. So make sure this is so. Oops. Good thing we tested that. Yeah, let's go back to here and test it. Okay, there you go. Options work, so it should say default. Get the default handler because it was options, I think, and so we get that. So let's try to delete, and it should say get the handler for delete. Let's just make some space here. So it's getting there. So we want to delete. Send that. Okay. There you go. Handle for delete. And so there's basically two ways for us to route this. In the old ways, the URL really is just a path to a resource. So it's a reason why it's / for old Unix to go to that directory and retrieve that directory. So more than likely want to do that if there's no function assigned to it, then we just want to try to go to that directory and find it. So that's what we're gonna do next. And now that I think about it, I think we can just if we add a callback function, we can get rid of this switch statement. So instead of doing that, if we just say controller method, so request method. So depending on the request method is that's where it's going to go here to whatever set it is, and then this would be the request.url. Okay, so if we have this here, then it should service that request. So you comment this out now. And let's just say, and so this, if there's if we call this function and it doesn't exist, or we didn't define it, then it's likely going to throw an error. So since we don't want it to crash right now, or if you think something's going to crash, you want to try to put it in try catch block. That way you can log the errors. So catch error, and then we just want to log that. But this is expecting a response, so let's just give it a response. Oops. Let's log it first and then do the rest of the stuff. Okay. So let's try and add this get root. So controller get. So let's do the get. And we want to add the root directory. Okay. So if a request comes in, we'll get the method. So we're right now we're just testing the get method. So this will be a get. So controller get, like we have here. The request URL that we're testing when we test this is just going to be the root directory. So we'll probably add 2. So we'll just have a quick test. Okay, so we'll say load more information. Hello, get root. Okay, and then maybe we have info. So here's another controller that we're adding. Info. So when they go to localhost 3000 info, then this should handle it. So hello get info. Okay. Should be enough. We can try to post. So just try one more. So let's just stick with, I guess, these two URLs that we're trying to do. So instead of a get, we post something. And we just want to say hello. Which means you post it to root here. Post info. Okay. Now you can see that you could have unlimited controllers. You know, these are all the same, but this could be in a different file and a lot longer. But for now, we're just sending different messages for different points. And then if it doesn't exist for now, you know, if we put something that doesn't exist, then it's just gonna catch it and just say hi everyone. Okay, so really this should be, let's fix me. No. Okay, so let's go ahead and test this again. So remember, we have get and just the root. Oops. What's going on here? Okay, so in here it should give back to us what we expect. So there we go. Hello get root. Okay. Let's post, and it should say hello post root. Okay, hello post root down here. You guys can see. Okay, put doesn't exist, so it should say something here. Okay, there you go. Please fix me, which actually here should be a try catch block. Because we hit an error, it logged here the error. It says it's not a function, so there's no function that's assigned to that. Okay, and then I believe we also got info. So this should be a function here, so we should get something back. Don't know why I did that. Okay. Hello get info. Okay. And then when we post something, hello post info. Okay. I might cut it here. Seems like we did a lot and talked a lot. So pretty much what we want to do is kind of improve this and try to see if we can get rid of this try catch block. And also we want to test if we give it like I'll give you the sample URL. We want to test. We have localhost 3000 and info is already there, but if we say info and more, what I want to do is try to see if there's actually a controller called, so, or a router that's called info and more. And if they don't have that controller, then I want to next test the info. Okay, and then if they still don't have that, then it's gonna probably give an error. If you don't have that, give status code 400 or 500 or whatever the appropriate error is. So that's it. Thank you guys for watching. If you have a comment, please leave it down below and I'll try to get back with you.